Okay. So what are the other build tools we have? Have you guys heard about Ant, Gradle?
No, Arun.
Okay, fine. Give me a couple of minutes, guys. One second.
Yeah, hi guys, this is Govind. So why we are going to use Maven actually? So it's a project management tool and also a build management tool. So before that, we have a like Ant actually. Ant is a build management tool. So build management is nothing but like we can set up a cycles, like we can set up a cycle. There are multiple pairs of cycles actually, and then we can develop our project actually. But coming to Maven, there are two benefits from Maven actually. One of the most important things is dependency adding actually. If you are not creating any Maven project, all the depending, for example, you are using Selenium, and also like for example, for reporting, you are using extend report. All the jobs you have to manually download it, and you have to add manually actually. So this is one of the drawback of normal creating a project, actually Java project. If you are using Maven project, so Maven created a repository actually. They have three types of repository: central repository, remote repository, and local repository. So all the Maven depend, for example, dependency like Selenium WebDriver and common Apache IPOIR. For example, if you are connecting with JDBC, all the libraries, all the jar files, they have been downloaded. They are kept in a repository. So we have to give that repository URL, something like dependency artifact ID. Then it will download that latest. For example, you can specify the version also in that actually Maven dependency flag. So after it will download the jars from the central repository, and we would keep it in our local repository. Local repository is nothing but if you guys can see, like if you go C folder or something, there will be like .m2 folder. In the .m2 folder, it will have all the jars what are the downloaded actually. So this is one of the major advantage of Maven. And another one thing is like life cycle actually. Maven of like seven major life cycle, I think so. So there we have like clean, install, and plugin. So all the things, for example, clean, we are developing a new project actually. So first time when we are doing, we have to clean the project. Like if you have like unwanted files something, so it will clean the all the unwanted junk files, and then it will give a fresh Java project. So like that, we have multiple phases we can see in a further coming session now. So this is a major advantage of Maven. So after Maven, now latest trend is like Gradle actually. So Gradle went on like YAML language, I think so. So but still Maven is most popular tool we are using as a project management. So this is the overview of the Maven.
Thanks, Govind.
Small doubt, Govind. This is Ram, Sai Ram.
Yeah, tell me, Ram.
Can I say this is a tool or a plugin then? What I can say exactly?
Tool. It's not a plugin. It's a project management tool.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
So as already Govind has mentioned about what is Maven, so why we are using those things. Let's try creating a Maven project. So how do you create a Maven project? What are the different types we can create a Maven project? I guess some guys have already created a Maven project, right? Ram, have you created a Maven project?
Yes, sir.
Can you show how we can create a Maven project?
Yeah, sure.
Just stop sharing. Please open Ram.
Just a minute. Sorry, I did not open that.
Okay. So Maven, as already Govind has clearly said that Maven, we are using it for as a build tool. So you can have all your dependency files in Maven. So the main motive or objective of Maven is easy build process. and uniform build process in different machines. So if Ram is creating a Maven project here and sharing it with anyone else, the same build process will be there in your system also. And it is also used to have a better development practices, or whatever automation script you are writing, or whatever configuration or infrastructure which you are creating. This is useful for creating your better dev practices. For you will be having a better practices by creating the Pom.xml file. Does anyone know what is Pom.xml file?
It's a page object model.
Project object.
It's a
Project
project
object
object model.
So kindly don't confuse this POM. So POM in Selenium is different. POM in Maven is different. So what is it in Selenium? Page object model.
Page object.
What is in Maven?
Project object.
Project object model.
So what does the POM contains?
Versions and the dependencies.
All configurable files.
Go in the parra. One second, everyone. Created a Maven project?
Yes, now I'm creating.
Okay. One second. So we have three things here: group ID, artifact ID, and version ID. What is the difference between that?
Yes, sir. Artifact ID, it comes under project name. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So
Generally,
artifact is a unique ID for your particular project base. So group ID is for a reference. For example, which organization or which company is giving this Maven project. That is the main use of the group ID. For example, you are having an organization called Amazon. So you are working in Amazon, and let's assume your group ID will be com.amazon or or org.amazon. So to represent your company or to represent your project, the first two parameters, the group ID will be present. And in Amazon, you may have multiple Maven projects, right? So for automation, UI automation, you will be having certain project. For API automation, you will be having certain project that will be mentioned in your artifact. And to have a version of that, you will be giving the version name. So this is the main reason behind having a group ID and artifact ID. You have multiple templates created in Maven project, which you can get it from Arun generate, and you can use the existing template to create your Maven project. Okay. So what will be the default architecture type? How the folder structure will be there in the Maven?
yes, sir.
Yeah, SRC main Java, and you will be also having SRC test Java. So these are the main things. And one more thing is SRC main resource. These three folders will be by default created in any of your Maven project by default. Based on the templates which you have, these three folders will be there. What will be there in your Java, SRC main Java? What? So initially it will not have anything. So if you want to write your product or your application related things, you have to write it in SRC main Java and SRC test Java.
So we will write everything here.
All your test related scripts will be there in your SRC test Java. So by this way, you can identify what project is this about. And for example, some projects may have both SRC main Java and SRC test Java. Both files will be there. why we have it in SRC test Java is the unit test cases will be there in SRC test Java. So any unit test cases we will be writing in SRC test Java. So that will be used for identifying whether these cases are test cases or product cases or product files. So this is basic about the Maven project, how we have created a project. And resources will have all your test data. So if you have any XML file, testing XML file, resources should have your test data files. For example, if you are passing your test data in SQL file or Excel file or CSV file, that should be in your resource folder. And generally, if you create any Maven file, you will not be having the below 3 folders: SRC, target, and test output folder. And the main file in Maven project is Pom Dot Xml file. Can you open that Pom Dot Xml file?
Wait a second, you see.
Yeah, one second. So Maven project will be having for two main purposes. One is for having all your dependency files in a Pom Dot Xml file. So for example, if you are going to run a Selenium automation script, so what are the dependency files for your Selenium automation script? External libraries or dependency libraries for your automation script. Batch one. Chandrika, Harish, Pina. What is the basic library file you need for executing your automation?
Yeah, we will add Selenium language. But
Selenium.
So
Selenium.
yeah, you will need your Selenium package, right? So what are the different versions we have in Selenium?
so right now 4 is going on, beta version.
Okay. So you should know which version you are executing. To represent that or to download the respective jar file, you are giving the version here. So 3.1.4.59, right? So if you are using 4 there, your dependency files downloaded will be Selenium jar version 4. So to download or use the same version across different users, for example, you are creating a Maven project in your organization, and Ram is editing those automation script with the Selenium 3.14. Will the same script execute in Selenium 4 if you don't represent the version there and you download a different jar version, Selenium jar version in your local machine? No, right?
No.
So that's the reason we are using a group ID, artifact ID, and the dependency package is there. So basically, I want to also explain how the dependency works. You can see my screen, right? Yes, you can see my screen, right? No?
Yes, Arun, where? What?
Oh, 1 second.
I think I'm sharing my screen.
So this Pom.xml will be there. Pom.xml, you have written a dependency, right? So from where it will look your dependency for jar files? Any idea?
Like a remote server, local server, or we can say that.
Okay, there are 3 things in repo. One is local, second one is central, and third one is remote. So what is the difference between central, local, and remote? So local is your local machine. Okay, so wherever you execute your automation script, that is your local machine. And what is central? So all the dependency files which we are mentioning here, right? For example, cell name HQ, cell name Java file, this group ID, this dependency, it will this dependency will be stored in Maven's repository. Maven repository will be stored in a cloud version. I mean, in some of the server which Maven maintains. So we have this jar file will be downloaded from the Maven central repository. For every first time when you are adding a new dependency, it will take it from the Maven central version, central repo. It will fetch from the central repo and store it in your local for the very first time. So at that point of time, you definitely need your internet. So if you are adding a new package or new dependency in your Pom Dot Xml, you should have a internet access to your machine. Only then you can download the jar file. Okay, we have seen Maven central repo and Maven local. So for the next second time, the Pom will check your dependency in local. If it's local, it will use that. If it's not in the local, it will go and check in the central repo. Okay, probably for the second time, it will be storing it in your local machine. In which folder it is stored? In your local?
M2 dot M2
Where the .m2 folder will be there?
users.
In C folder,
Program
users, username, .m2 folder will be there. So here you will be having a repository folder. Inside that, all your packages will be stored. So this jar, everything will be having a jar file. Let's see what is for Selenium. Don't store. Okay, so these are all the dependency jar files. Will be stored from taken from your Pom Dot Xml and stored in the .m2 folder. So every time you execute your Maven project, it will first go and check whether your dependency folders are there or your dependency jar files are there. If it's not there, it will go and check in your central repository. Okay, so we got everything from the central repository. Everything will be there in the central repository. Then what is remote repository? Do you have any idea? Guys, any idea what is about remote repository? You guys kindly speak,
It's
guys.
like
I'm not
server.
sure. Yeah.
It's like server, like company servers. Is there any internal jars available in our company repository? Like,
Yes, exactly. So if you want to store your own created jar files and share it across your organization, you have to store it in your remote repository, and that remote repository should be configured, and you have to place your jar files. So for your project, it will take it from the remote repository. So yeah, those are the three repositories we have. So remote repository is local to the organization. It cannot be used by anyone outside the organization. So any jar files or internal jar files we can take it from your remote repository. Apart from this, we have another one thing, external libraries. What is external libraries? Let's try this.
Yeah, actually, the libraries which are not available in pre-defined in the Maven, so we are getting from the outside of, from the other source.
Okay, so if you are using any new GitHub project which they have not hosted their jar files in the cloud or in any of the Maven repository, and you are using the new packages, new GitHub projects or any GitHub projects which your friends have created or anything which is popular in the industry without storing the jar files, you need those jar files, right? So in that case, you can download the jar file and store it in your repository or store it in some places in your local machine. and use that libraries. For example, I can also show some. Okay, so this is how you have to add your external library. So I have this jar file in my external lib path, in the project repository external lib path, this jar file. So I'm adding this dependency. So whenever this dependency is required, it will go and check it from that jar file. So these are the 4 different ways of adding your dependency from different places. Okay. So this jar file, if you don't have in Maven repository or in your local repository, or if you don't want to have it in your local repository, you can have it along with your project and you can use this as external library. Any doubt guys till now?
No,
Yes.
Arun. No.
No, Arun.
It's not a repo, but this is where you store your external libraries. So what are the main tags that is present in your Pom Dot Xml file?
Project, artifact
Project.
ID, group ID, snap,
So
shop.
this is what you have created when the Eclipse, right? So group ID
Yeah.
and artifact ID, automation, and the version which you are storing here. And apart from that, what will be there is mostly dependency, right? So
Yes.
all your dependency will be there in your Pom dot file. So to download all your jar files. And one more thing we have apart from dependency. So we have seen what are the different types of dependency, how we have downloaded, we have seen that. Now we also see what are the other parameters we have. So we have another one called build parameters. So we have 2 things. So what is the difference between dependency and plugin? What is the difference between dependency and plugin?
Generally in plugins we will have like a Maven clean build, and we can give surefire path. There we can give XML file.
Ram, can you be a bit loud?
Yes, in plugins generally we'll have Maven clean build and everything plugins, and we can give surefire plugin, and there we can add XML files.
Mm, a bit near, but not exactly. Okay, the difference between dependency and plugin is, so dependency will only download your jar files and store it in your M2 folder, and those dependency will be used when you are executing your automation script or when you are executing your project. It will go and take a reference of that jar file and that will use it. And the plugins is which will start your execution. For example, Maven Surface plugin, right? So Maven Surface plugin is the one which will initialize your or start your execution. Those jar file itself is an executable jar file. It will start execution. It will not be just a jar file class file. It will initiate your execution. That's why that's a difference between dependency and plugin. Any doubt here? Going, what is the main use of Surface plugin going? Yes, he kept it on mute and left. Okay. So to execute all your cases, Surface plugin will be used.
It's a Maven Surefire plugin.
Yeah, Maven Surface plugin. I can show you the plugin also. Once again, Maven Surface plugin is there, right? And you can also have different kind of configurations in your Maven file. So previously we were seeing the Jenkins, right? So how we have to pass it to your browser version, or how you can pass it to your test file. So here I have passed my suit.xml file. So which file I have to execute? Test.ng file which you will be executing, right?
Yes.
So those file you can pass it here in the pom.xml. Any these are the dynamic variables. So if you want to pass any dynamic variables to your pom.xml, this is how you have to give dollar symbol, open brace, close brace, and the variable which you are going to pass it. Okay. And there are different goals. We'll see what are the different life cycle and goals we have in Maven. So there are 7. So let's see about the life cycle of Maven. So there are 7 phases in Maven life cycle. So what are the phases? Okay, what does your Maven clean does this? Maven clean. Have you used this command before?
Yeah, yeah,
What does Maven
actually,
clean do?
yeah. Once we have added the dependencies in the pom.xml, then we need to do the clean button. So it will check already if there is already any dependencies are free. So it will cross check and do complete clean installation of that Maven.
No, Pina. I'll explain you. Okay. So there are 7 phases in Maven life cycle. So let's park this question. We will come back to this Maven clean. What Maven clean is does. Life cycle. First one is Maven validate. Second one is compile. Third one is test. Fourth one is package. Fifth one is verify. Sixth one is install. And seventh one is deploy. Guys, everything will be starting with small letter. Everything will be small letter. Okay. So these are the different phases of phases of life cycle in Maven. Can someone say what validate does? So Pina, this is the phase. Yeah. Sorry. Please
Yes,
go
it
ahead.
validates the project. Necessary
Yeah.
information is available or not.
It validates your projects, whether all your dependencies are present, whether the information you are given in your configuration are correct. All those things will be done. This validate phase will do it. Validate the information of your project. Okay. What does compile do?
It will compile the source code.
And create. Compile the source code. Source code. Where are the source codes we have? So we have seen already 2 folders, right? SRC folders.
Test Java.
Yes.
Okay. So SRC test Java and SRC. What are the folders, please? SRC Java and SRC test, right? Harish. So the whatever codes which we have in SRC folder, it will compile the source. So here we have two things. One is Java folder, and the second one is test folder. So it will compile both the Java folder and test folder. And where the compiled files will be there? In which folder we will have the compiled file?
Test file.
Compiled files will be there in target folder, right? Going, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So both of your source codes will be compiled and it will be stored in your target folder. So what does this test phase does? It will execute your unit testing, which is present in your test folder. Package, what does the package is? Create a jar file. So Selenium projects we have, right? So we are downloading all those jar files, right? So they will be creating a package with the source code which they have, and they will be sharing it to you. Why we need jar files? Yes, why do you need jar files?
Existing code.
No, you can't edit your jar file. So if you can share your jar files to any of the members, and they can execute without modifying the jar file. You will not be, you can use a jar file, the same jar file, and you can execute the same automation script whichever you have executed. For example, Selenium has already given 3.1.4 version of jar file to us, right? So we are using, everyone are using this 3.14 version jar file, so that the automation which is executed in any machine will be executed in your machine also. So that's why they are providing a jar file, so that you can execute your automation. The same will be used by anyone in your organization or outside your organization. So to have the same kind of impact, you will be creating a jar file out of your source code, and you will be using the same thing. Any questions here, guys? Are you clear? Yes, do you have any question? Are you guys are there, kept in mute and
No problem.
others?
No, Arun.
Can I get at least one question from each of you? Let me see who are all there in the.
సత్య ఒక్క ఈ టైంకి 5 minutes అట్లా పోతుంటది ఎప్పుడన్నా. ఓకే ఓకే.
I'm expecting at least one question from each of you guys. Do you have any questions now? Or at least one point from what you have understood? Let's start from Ram.
Yes, sir.
What did you understand from the session till now? Any point, any point?
So generally, Maven will have seven phases.
Okay, stop it. The next one, Chandrika. What you can say at 1 or 2 phases in that?
Yeah, like main use of Maven is like each and every time without, instead of manually downloading, it will give us the dependencies from the central repository.
If it's not, okay, central repository. Which is the place it will first look into?
First, it will, for the first time, it will look into our local. If it is not present in the local, then it will go to central library and it will download it.
Okay, fine. The next one,
Hello. Yeah, Satya.
Harish. Satya. Okay. Was name joined in the name of Harish.
Can be sorry.
Harish. Yeah. Can you say some points about? So where is your local repository in your machine? Which folder is your local repository?
Okay, yeah.
Tina, which is your local repository?
It is in our C drive users. There is a workspace will be there. There we will have our local repository.
Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Harish. Yeah, Harish.
Yeah. Hello.
Satya or Harish.
Hello.
Yeah, Arun, you can go with other persons.
Yeah. What is artifact ID and group ID and version? Why do we need using it? Anyone from Sai, Sindhu, Sumit? Anyone from you?
Artificial ID is one is a unique ID.
Okay.
When you create the project, it will be taken as a unique ID.
Okay. Why do you need the version?
I'm sorry.
Why do you have the version?
Why do we have the version or where do you have the version?
Okay. What is version?
Which type of version you are using the Maven?
Okay.
Series name.
Jar file. What is the difference between plugin and dependency? Priya?
Plugin used to execute our test
No.
cases.
Okay.
Dependencies just download the jar files.
Okay. What are the other phases we have in our life cycle? You need two.
Yes, we have a validate and compile. Validate
Okay.
means it
Okay.
checks all the information.
Okay.
Necessary.
Veera Kumar, what are the other phases we have in life cycle? Okay, guys. So let's see other life cycle. So create a jar package will create a jar file. Verify will verify your integration test. Integration tests in your test folder. And what install will do? Install will create the package and store it in your local repo. Then it will store it in your local repo. What is the local repo folder?
.m2.
.m2. Okay, so deploy. So if you want to deploy your jar file in a specific folder or in a specific server, you can use deploy so that it will go and deploy in your test servers or in your servers. So we are using deploy for that, deploy stage for that. Then it will be adding or deploying in your remote server. So these are the basic seven. These are the basic 7 phases or major 7 life cycle phases. So similarly, you have multiple. So apart from this, we have multiple, I mean, more number of phases in between validate and compile and test and package. So we have few more life cycle, but these are the major life cycle we have in our Maven project. So if you type Maven clean, so it will first clean the target folder. It will delete the target folder and recompile. Okay, it will come clean your target folder. That's the only thing which the Maven clean does. So if you give Maven clean install, it will Maven clean, it will clean the target folder, it will validate, it will compile, it will test, it will create a package, it will verify, and then it will install into your local folder. So if you type Maven clean and test, so any phases before that, phases which you are mentioning, all those will be executed while you are going for Maven clean test. For example, if you are giving Maven clean test, Maven clean will be done, Maven validation will be done, Maven compile will be done, and testing will be done. Okay, any doubts here?
I mean, you mean that whatever the previous done, that will be deleted, and for the freshly it will
recompile, yes.
Recompile.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So that's why we are using Maven clean. Maven clean will clean your target folder and will create a new compilation.
So like a temporary file, that is a temporary file.
So whenever you are making a changes in your source folder, right? So you have to convert it into your dart class file, right? For your execution.
Yes.
How does that being done? Using compilation, right?
Yes.
So if there is already a compiled file, we are deleting those compiled file using Maven clean, and we are creating a new compilation file.
Okay.
So Maven clean will just clean the target folder, and the next phase or next parameter which you are giving, example, if you compile, it will compile the new folder, or if you give install, it will follow all these validate, compile, test, package, and verify, and do install.
Okay. Thank you.
So if you give deploy, all these 6 stages will be done, and then only it will deploy.
Okay.
So if you give validation alone, only validation will be done. But if you give compile, this one will be done and this one will be done. If you give test, all the 3 will be done. If you give package, all the 4 will be done.
Okay.
I guess I have covered most of the life cycle and the Maven dependencies in this. Do you have any other questions apart from this? You are facing any problems in your organization, or you having any doubt regarding Maven apart from this? You can ask a question now. Is any question?
Arun, one question from my end.
Yeah,
While doing the Maven thing, in case, is it mandatory to do the creating, to do the test in the format and do the execute? I mean, we need to integrate the test in the XML, or without doing the test in the also we can able to do it. I mean, it's a dumb question only, but I am asking.
Okay, TestNG you are using only it for executing your automation, So Maven is not an automation tool; it's a build tool, right? So this Maven tool can be used for creating your product. For example, your application. You are so you'll be testing some application, right? What is the application you are testing in your organization? For example,
It's a web application.
Okay, so those web application, they will be creating a Java project, right?
Yes.
So they will be having the certain dependencies for creating the Java project, right? The web project.
Yes.
For example, they need Spring Boot, and if they are using any HTML, so the dependencies are for all those things that will be mentioned in your Pom Dot Xml, and they will create a jar file, right? Jar file, and they will be providing and they will be deploying in their server, right? So this Maven tool will be helping for that also. So the main reason of creating a Maven is that, but for testing we are using those functionalities to create your test project, and you are also adding Selenium as well as TestNG to automate your project. So TestNG, without TestNG, Maven will work. So Maven TestNG, you can add it as a package. It's just a plugin where you install in Maven to execute your automation.
Okay, okay, got it.
So you can send your parameters directly to TestNG or through Maven to execute your automation cases. For example, if you have some 5 or 6 XML files in TestNG, let's assume you have some automation script 1.xml. You can pass. You have automation script 1, automation script 2, automation script 3, and you want to execute only one script from your testng.xml. Then you can give it from the dynamic parameter with Jenkins or Eclipse or Maven like this. The suit.xml files. You go and check that XML file and it will execute. You can see my screen, right? Pina?
Yeah, I'm able to see your screen. Got it.
So you can also send different system property values. You can specify your goal, the phase, whether it's a validate, compile, or test. You can also mention it here as a goal. This is the execution phase.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the execution phase. This is the configuration phase, and we have also mentioned the goals. This should all comes under build tag.
Okay.
And you are also given your source folder SRC. You can also change your source folder if you require.
Okay.
You can use SRC Java or SRC test. You can also make those changes based on your requirement.
Okay.
Yeah, any other questions?
One of my, sorry,
No problem, sorry.
but I'm new to this. When I compare to this test engine Maven, yesterday when I'm converting the one of the project to the Maven, just I've seen this. There's the same format like a test engine, like a .xml file. Then, as you said that Maven is using for the dependencies and I mean including the dependencies all. For TestNG, we use to execute and run the to the detailed report.
Yes, to your automation, exactly. Yeah.
And why can't that Maven? I mean Maven, as we are, Maven is not a framework, right?
Maven is a tool.
Tool, but TestNG is a framework.
It's a kind of framework, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So the tags which you are having in TestNG and the tags which you have in Maven are different, completely different. So in TestNG you will be having the class include exclude tool.
As include exclude and the group.
You have parameters, scripts.
Parameters. Exactly.
So all those things will be there in TestNG. So that is the different to only TestNG parameters. Here it's completely different. You will be having dependencies and plugins and build execution. All those things you will be having here.
Okay. And as you mentioned here that on the screen, you can send, you can pass the file through this POM file, POM XML.
Yeah.
If I give the name of any of the, as you mentioned that file name, what is, I mean, what file name you want to mention it? Like a Java file or like a XML file or
So I have given, so it's based on the tags, sorry. So I have given suit.xml files, right? So you have to give an XML file here.
Okay.
So you can search in Maven, you will be having different things here. So based on these tags, you can pass even the Java files also.
You mean Java files?
Yeah, you should have a different tags for that. Let me explore and let you know. But for executing suit, this is for executing suit.xml file, you can give .xml file. You can also execute Java files directly, but you should be having a different configuration for that. Let me check and let you know how you have to use these parameters.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Arun. I have one doubt. Can I maintain two Pom .xml files for one Maven project?
No. No, sir. You should have only one Pom part file.
Okay.
That is the main file, right? So whatever dependency you are giving it in one
Okay.
file.
The POM file will be in the project file, right? Not to the class file.
Sairam, I couldn't hear you, Sairam.
Sai, your voice is not clarity, Sai.
Go with Sai, give me 5
Sorry.
minutes, I'll complete. Yeah. Yes, Sai.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, Sai.
Yeah. Maven can be done in the project level. SNG will be done in the class level, right?
Actually, we shouldn't compare these things, but a kind of yes.
Okay.
So the purpose of TestNG and the purpose of Maven is completely different.
Yeah, it's a completely.
It is not ideal to compare.
Yeah,
but whatever you said is right. Yeah.
Yeah, Maven will be only done in the project level. If you want to convert the complete project, you want to go with the Maven.
For execution, you can
Not for each classes and everything.
Okay, testing is just an framework to execute your automation scripts. Either it's a unit testing or it's an automation classes or test methods which are written in the test folder. It's only for that. You can't use the test engine to execute your entire project. So test engine is only for executing your testing, test methods and test classes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
Just, you have any question? Anyone else have any question? If not, we can move to the next topic.
Is that clear, Arun?
Yeah, I'm clear.
Thank you, guys. Over to Govind. So Govind will be taking about hash map and locators. Yeah, Govind, please take it forward. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Arun.
Thank you, Arun.
Arun.